Hi everybody, welcome back to the Golf Chat Show live. Now, we've not been live since Tuesday. As I said to you guys, with being back to be able to teach and being able to play golf now and film outside, I thought it'd be best to bring you the Golf Chat Show every single Sunday. And obviously, we had to bring our favourite guest on. And Jimmy, welcome back.
You're such a smoothie. Very much. No, great to be back. Always. I look forward to this. It's really good chat. It's great stuff. And all of a sudden, we feel like we're getting our lives back a little bit in terms of golf. I'm talking about, nothing else. And it's good, yeah.
Especially us golfers, we feel like it's just being normal. Oh, normal, really, like you said.
Well, normal-ish is not normal by any stretch, is it? But listen, the fact that we can get out and the fact that it's Mental Health Awareness Week, then I think everyone was going a bit stir crazy not being able to get out on the golf course. And obviously that's just aimed at the golfers, but we were all going a bit stir crazy. So I think it's really good. And I think that we're able to teach a little bit. So there's a bit of one-to-one coaching. There's really strict regulations involved in terms of hand sanitization and equipment sanitization, et cetera, but everybody seems to have got the message, and everybody's at the moment, as far as I'm concerned anyway, some of the bits and bobs I'm doing is really grateful for some input and itching to get out.
I know you say that sanitizing and taking all the precautions. Today, Mottram Hall opened back up, and me and Simon went down to kind of hit the first tee shot and open it up and do a bit on social for them. And they actually had the pro shop open, not selling anything, but just to check people in and make sure they've got the right people going towards the tee. But they've got screens up. The guys have got masks on. They've got visors. They've got gloves. They've got absolutely everything. But like when they answer the phone, like you can hardly hear them. It's like one of those. It's a hard one. But I guess you've got to take every precaution to stay safe.
Yeah, let's just tiptoe our way into it. I've said this last week, I think. Let's just find out how we all accommodate with social distancing, obviously, with the cleanliness of everything and everybody, and just be aware. And once we're all aware of it, and we've got half a chance, haven't we? And we're not going to police everybody. Everybody knows all that, but the fact that and we're playing in two balls, it's not quite the same, is it? You're playing twos. Well, actually, want to play a four ball. You want to play with two of your mates, not one of your mates. Let's just tiptoe our way in, and I think one thing that is positive coming out of it is that there's more people wanting to be members of golf clubs, because at the moment most are saying members only, although one or two. I know Delamere and Didsbury have just opened up to members guests, so that's a step. And on the 1st of June, as long as the R rates stayed relatively low, then we're going to open the doors a little bit further and edge our way towards even having a cup of tea or a beer on the patio soon. You never know.
That'd be quite nice though, wouldn't it? Especially in this weather. 9 holes in the evening and a few bit, and not a few, maybe a beer afterwards.
Yeah, I think they've got the odd boogie bar at the odd place as well. I've had a conversation with one of my pals up the road. Sure, I should mention the course, but they've got the boogie bar going around, and you can have a beer and stuff. Everybody's sanitized, gloves, all that stuff. I don't see the issue with it myself.
No.
And getting some sort of revenue, because golf clubs, don't forget, everyone thinks that it's great that golf is open. Well, the golf clubs themselves aren't open, so the pro shops and all the rest of it, and they're making no money. So I would have thought the boogie bar was the easy way to make 200 or 300 quid a day. So maybe that's what you and I should do.
Yeah, let's do it. Do some tips on the way around as well.
Yeah,
we can do all sorts.
Yeah.
On that note, like I don't see any reason why you couldn't have a boogie bar open, because there's takeaway coffee shops. I know there's a pub near me that was a pub, but now turned itself into like a cafe bar.
Yeah,
so
I
you
saw
can
that.
turn up, that's on the corner near me. You can turn up, grab a coffee and walk away. And they're queuing around the corner for it, 2 meters apart, obviously. But like, I thought it was a really good idea, that, and that's probably saving their business.
Oh, absolutely. And listen, I think golf clubs ought to just, they're all, for me, the feedback I've heard thus far is that, they've got to take staff off furlough. They've got to, it's about paying for the staff. It's about, is it cost effective? Actually, you know what? I don't care whether it's cost effective. What it is doing is creating a bit of goodwill, and it's raising the bar a bit. And you seem to be doing something different than the club up the road. So for me, I think that people would be dead up for, they've got the Lose Open at the Halfway House at Lymm. if they had the boogie bar or a halfway house open with protected, one of the girls from the kitchen or one of the girls that works in the clubhouse probably would do it. You know, one of the juniors might do it. They're all tiptoeing a bit too much for me, but then I'm the other extreme, but I'd get £200 or £300 a day.
People would
no
support
problem.
it. People would support it. They would, if they knew there was a halfway house or a place you get a sandwich, people wouldn't make it at home. They'd think, no, actually, I'm going to support the golf club. It's going to cost me £2 or £3, maybe a fiver, whatever it is. And they would definitely do that. And the tracker at the minute, and 1 in 2 does that. It's £200-300 a day.
Yeah, I know. I'd be all for that. The very first thing I would do as a service to the members, but then that's me.
So I want to get into tonight's golf because Tiger and Phil are playing with Manning and Brady, 2 American superstars. I don't really know much about them. But before that, I want to kind of talk about last week's golf with Fowler, Wolf, Rory and Johnson. Now, I don't want to say it was a letdown because obviously it was amazing to watch some golf, but it was all a bit strange if you ask me. Like, if the one thing that sticks in my mind when I was watching it is one of the presenters, and they talked about social distancing throughout, was less than 2 meters away from certain players doing the interview. Like, how can you even do that? Like, you're backing on about social distancing, and then you
I noticed that myself. It's ridiculous, isn't it? You know, 2 meters. If you grab your driver at the head end and just put your arm out relatively straight, then that is about 2 meters. So your arm length and the driver shaft is approximately. So, and he was nowhere near that, was he? He was
no way near.
Microphone up his nose. I know.
I was like, what are you doing? What messages is sending? Another point, actually, someone mentioned, like, none of us can play in 2 balls, but yet they're allowed to play in 4 balls. Like, what message is that sending? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not slating it. It was amazing just to watch some golf and obviously watch Rory hit it, watch Johnson hit it, and watch some of the stars of the future play. But I just think it wasn't done as well as it could have been done, is my opinion. But that's maybe due to the restrictions they had to have in place. Yeah,
maybe. Listen, they can probably play in 4 balls in America, can they? I don't even know that, but they can certainly play in 4 balls in Portugal now. But right. I thought, listen, it was great to see some golf. It was great to see Wolf hit it because he's so unusual. It was great to see 3-4 swings that were very different from each other, all absolutely bombing it miles. Seminole, in my mind, I'd heard a lot about Seminole as a golf course, and it covers a really small area, doesn't it? Very small acreage. And everyone was talking about it's a second shot course, you know, so it was quite wide open off the tee. It didn't look a particularly interesting course, but then the wind is its defense. So proper links course in that ways. It didn't, for me, make a great spectacle of a golf course because you lost the TV towers at height and all that stuff. So you missed that element a little bit. But you know, the great thing, they raised lots of millions of dollars for those disadvantaged. So I thought that was great. The very fact that we're all interested at all and we're talking about it a week later is brilliant. So for that bit, I was chuffed. I thought that Rory was magnificent. I didn't think the others quite engaged quite as well as they could have done, but you know, listen, it's easy to criticize, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but you know what? One thing I did like is obviously they're all mic'd up. It was great. I don't know why we don't have that more often.
You don't?
Great. I do know why, because obviously if they're not playing well, they probably don't want to hear it. You have to mute it quite a bit. But I just think it gives a different level of insight into the game, which if you're not inside the ropes, you have no idea what goes on. No idea.
No, I agree with that. I think that we ought to try it. I don't think there's any question about that. So I thought it was good. It was a good starter to get back into it. Tonight is going to be a very different animal because we've got 2 amateur golfers. I'm trying to find the handicaps. I can't find the handicaps, so I don't know how good they're going to be. It's Greensom's format as well, so everyone drives and they play the best from the best tee shot. So are they going to have a minimum tee shot for the pros? I suppose they will. You know, you can only play the pros ball, or you've got to play the amateurs drive 9 times out of 18 or something, maybe. I don't know. So that might make it interesting. But am I going to watch it? I might watch 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I might. I'd struggle to watch more than 20 minutes because actually for 20 minutes watching, how much golf are you going to see? So I'm
adverts.
a little bit, and I don't like. Listen, I'm prejudging it, so let's not prejudge it. Let's talk about that next week, and it will be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, anything that Tiger's involved with is gonna at least be good, isn't it? Even if not great.
Yeah. So, are they going to be caddying? Are they going to be in buggies?
In their own buggies, yeah. Tiger's looks cool. They got like cameras inside the buggies as well, so you'll be able to see his reaction when he's driving. I think they've all got like he's just like all Nike'd up with like his name on. Phil's got something similar. They've all got one.
God, only in America.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, whatever it is, it's great for the game. I think it'll be great, and they're raising again tons of money, aren't they, for charity? So
yeah,
let's keep it in perspective. For the real golf, the real golf. Actually, hot off the press. Yesterday, I got the invite to if it goes ahead. That is the Ryder Cup. I've been asked by 5 Live to do the Ryder Cup this year. So,
lovely.
Yeah, really chuffed with that. Not done the Ryder Cup for 2 or 3 Ryder Cups, so back on the team, although be very differently.
Yeah.
Can't imagine. I've said this to you weeks ago. I can't imagine it's going to go ahead myself, but the tours are wanting it to go ahead because. So it's going to be a very different animal, and of course it's September. So who knows what's going to happen by September? We don't know. So quarantine laws in America, etc. I mean, it's a minefield, all that stuff. But so if it goes ahead, yeah, I'm really chuffed to.
That'll be class. So, Duke, I didn't realise. I didn't even tell me that before coming live. You just sprung that on me.
I know. I've forgotten, really, to be honest. Yeah.
So what's it like to do that? Like, I mean, I'd be interested to know what's it like. Like, do you get prepared? Are you told what groups you're following, or is it literally groups hot on the day?
This will be very different because probably, and it's not certain yet, the BBC probably at this moment in time are looking like not sending people to America, but we don't know. No, listen. So I would think we'll do it from here, in which case it will be a very different animal because we'll be doing it off the telly. But previously I've done about 8 or 9 Ryder Cups, and it's fantastic. You get allocated a group the night before, and I had my most memorable match, and I'll tell you very briefly, but it was Lehman versus Seve at Oak Hill in 1995 when Seve was playing poorly, really poorly. And anyway, he didn't hit one fairway in the first 9 holes. He didn't hit one green in regulation in the first 9 holes, and was, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was all square. He might have been 1 down. And Lehman hit every fairway and every green, and he was
there. I'm like, how is this even possible?
I think he might have even been all square, but anyway, Seve hit the fairway at the 10th and then missed the green. But Seve was remarkable. He got it up and down from every ball washer there was. So no, I've got some great memories of the Ryder Cup commentating live, and it's been fantastic. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Because you've done the Open as well, haven't you? I mean, what's better, the Open Championship commentating?
Listen, the Open's very special in it because I've commentated on all the great players winning all the great Opens that we've had in the last 28. This year was going to be my 29th Open with BBC. So it's been fantastic. Right alongside Faldo when he won at Muirfield, right, commentated on his iron shot into the green, on his putt to win, with a live mic, and same with Ernie Els. So I've had some really memorable moments for when you're inside the ropes and you've got to be hushed, and you're right up close and personal with everything and everybody, and it's fantastic. I mean, there isn't a better view in the house, and it's a privilege.
So just talk us through a hole. So say, for example, you're following Faldo, he's on the tee, or we're following Faldo on the tee. Are you walking ahead, or are you staying at the tee? How does it usually work?
Generally, I'm ahead of the play, so you can describe if they come to you live, you don't want to be on the tee. And you don't know whether they're going to come to you live unless you're holding what we call a live mic. So if they're going to come to you, you'd probably get a little bit of notice. And I've been trapped a couple of times, literally with Tiger actually, at Turnberry it was, and I was trapped on the 8th tee, literally 3-4 yards from him, and I turned my headset down as low as it could go, and they said, Andrew, we're going to come to you. And I couldn't answer anything. And they said, oh, they must have a technical issue. And I was trapped. You couldn't speak. So you generally get a little bit up the fairway, so you're in a place where you can talk and paint the picture, because as you know, you've listened to Golf on the Radio. Everyone goes, golf on the radio. Got to be kidding me. Actually, there's 3 million people listen to us traveling around the world. So, and traveling around the UK in the car. So every listener's a blind listener. They don't know that there's bunkers on the right and, rough on the left, like the TV viewers do. So it's quite a different skill. It's really fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, I bet that's great news. Well, I look forward to listening in. Fingers crossed we've got something to listen in and what.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, yeah.
Next thing, I want to get into this because at the start of the year, or maybe at the end of last year, start of this year, Justin Rose signed with Honda. Now, he just come off the really good year using TaylorMade, looked very good, very consistent. And to switch to them, a lot of people were like, oh, he's done it just for the money, done it for this. But I don't know, for me personally, why, if you're playing so well and a man in his position, he's not needing the money as such. If he didn't play another game of golf, he's well and truly made in that aspect. Do you think he maybe went to Honda to try and find that extra edge, and then didn't find it, so he switched back? What do you think the thinking behind that was?
I don't know. It'll have been connected to money, I would say. Notice he's not wearing a Honda on the front of the cap. He's wearing one of the American banks on the front of his cap, and he's got Honda on the side of the cap. So that will have had a massive bearing on it because TaylorMade wouldn't have allowed that. TaylorMade and Adidas split at the same, a few years ago. So that his contract was with Adidas clothing and shoes, and all of a sudden he went to another clothing line. I don't know the details, and I don't suppose we'll ever find out the actual details. Mark King, I know Mark King, who was one of his big pals, who was president of TaylorMade, went to Honda and tried to recreate Honda as this big brand, and it was a fantastic quality brand. There's no question about that. It's always been high quality in Japan, and they were trying to make inroads from Asia into the European and American market, and they were probably using him as a vehicle to do so. So the irons, he seems to be, well, he won the first couple of weeks out with them. So they can't be that bad. He's not playing bad irons or bad woods, is he? Oh. But he's obviously got something in his head, and it's happened to many players before, by the way.
Yeah.
It certainly happened to Ian Woosnam in my era. He went with Merriman, and he finished up with Merriman, people trying to copy these Dunlop Maxfly blades, and finished up literally buying a set of Maxfly Australian blades in Australia to play the Australian Open. Literally got a set out of the pro shop because he was fed up with the Merrimans. So, how much difference is it in the head, and how much is it actually in terms of irons? Irons are so good now, and quality of clubs are so good that it's difficult to know that they don't just copy like the Nike guys did with when they switched. So I think it's a very tricky one, though.
Because like we all know, all the top driver manufacturers, whatever you look at, they're all much of a muchness. There's not a bad driver out there these days.
No.
Really. Now, one may suit you more than the other. So it's got to come down to that psychological aspect, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, you would have thought so. You would have thought so at that level.
Yeah.
It might have been something to do with the tour support. It might have been the fact that, he's just lost confidence of the look of the thing. It doesn't perform as well as his TaylorMade because the TaylorMade guys are allegedly, those are the Callaway people anyway, allegedly the best tour support. I know that, Ping and Strixon and Titleist are always, thereabouts as well, but they're playing second fiddle to those other two really in many ways. So you don't know. I mean, it'll come out in the wash. Yeah.
Okay, so on to the next point. One-to-one teaching. PJ Pros, we're now allowed to do it.
Yes.
I know. Been waiting for the day. I actually don't start until tomorrow, down back at Mottram Hall, because it's only just opened. But I can't wait. But it's going to be very, very different. Very different, I think.
Yeah, we started on Wednesday, last week anyway. I spent the whole of Monday I started, actually, at Didsbury. Then again on Wednesday, pretty well, certainly half a day on Wednesday, a couple of on Thursday down at Lim, where they're just allowing the professional and the teaching staff at Lim to use the practice ground. And again, they'll tiptoe the way to members, and then they'll manage the members, 2 at a time, max. Maybe you book a slot like they do at Sandyway. So that depends on the space available, I suppose. One person at Lim on the short game area at a time, half an hour max. it's pretty manageable, really.
Mm.
But there's hand sanitization, golf ball sanitation, equipment sanitization, and obviously keeping social distance, using an alignment stick to demonstrate and prod people if you need to. Keep your head still. So yeah, I've actually managed okay. It's been slightly strange in parts, and I've been stopping myself from getting too close to showing people, or getting a feel about where they need to be in the backswing or the follow through, or whatever it is. But it's worked okay so far. But listen, everybody will take those guidelines to their own degree. We've just got to be as safe as we can be.
Now, I know you mentioned before you felt like you were kind of stopping yourself getting too close. Have you had to kind of adopt the way you teach to fit the rules?
A little bit in some ways, yeah. I had a young girl, Imi, who you know from
and
I was really trying to get her to get into a slightly bigger, higher sort of backswing position, because she'd got a little bit flat. In fact, Freddie Fairhurst, one of the Lynn juniors, that he's big, tall fella, and got himself in a bit of a pickle because he'd got extremely flat, and I needed to get alongside him to, show him where he needs to be, feeling he needs to be. So that was slightly tricky, but I used my camera on my phone, and we did a bit of a video, and I showed him the video at a distance. He didn't touch my phone, of course. It's all that stuff. So WhatsApping people their images sharpish so they can view them on their own phone, or getting an iPad. Some people are using an iPad, of course. So there's ways of doing it. And ball flight divot. Listen, ball flight divot tells all, doesn't it? We all know that.
Yeah.
Well, some of us know
that. I just can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. I've checked the weather forecast the last 3 or 4 days to make sure it's nice and sunny for tomorrow, and it is. Thank the Lord. Usually on Bank Holiday Monday it rains, so I was like, I've got my waterproofs on. So I literally can't wait. I know at Mottram they said to me, we'll put the golf balls up there for you. One guy will be collecting them. You don't go and touch them. The members don't touch them. Members actually, the range is closed to them. It's only open for people to go and coach. And they've taken bays out every so many bays. I don't know how many it is, but you can't get close to. Close to people.
I'm dissuading people from touching the golf ball, so giving themselves a good lie and bending down and putting it on a tee peg. I'm doing it for them.
Yeah,
it's only me contacting the golf balls, and listen, we'll find a way. We all want to find a way, don't we?
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think is going to be interesting is a little bit of on-course coaching as well. I took a couple of guys down at Didsbury the other day, and we only played literally 6-7 holes in an hour and a half or something, and I gave this guy a playing lesson, and he found that really much more useful than standing on the range, because it was a bit of strategy why you're hitting that club there, why you're chipping with that there and stuff. And so you just obviously with 10-minute intervals, it gives you a tiny bit of space. You haven't got people quite jamming you up behind. So as long as the golf course allows, of course, the coaching on the course, I think, is a really good way.
Yeah, I think most golfers who potentially don't have, outside of lockdown, don't have time to actually practice the golf and do those things. I think they can get a lot more merit and a lot more success from doing that kind of stuff. Of course,
I do too.
Thinking about those things, how do I approach a shot? Because if we kind of generalize most club golfers, they always come up short. They never hit enough club. They're always trying to hit everything full out and it comes up short. Generalization, but yeah, other people don't do that. But I think going, especially with someone like you who's played and won on tour and got that experience, it gives people a great insight to actually what a pro is thinking about. And actually, the one thing that I took away from when I was caddying for your son Tom, that even the top guys don't pure it every time.
No,
they just manage the game very well.
Yeah, and I think that every shot is lie dependent. The thing that we all look at is not where the pin is or where the wind is actually how's the ball lying. Can I get the club on the ball? And a lot of amateur golfers don't see that and the impact that the lie of the ball has on the shot required, let alone the ease of the shot required. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're not going to hit a lobby high flopper if you're off 17 or 15 handicap off a bare lie in the first place, even if it was on a teed up lie, probably. But so managing your skill set is massive.
Yeah.
And being realistic about managing your skill set too. You know, interestingly, what do you know that I don't? You probably know this. The average handicap for handicap golfers has not changed in 45 years.
Really? Everybody's saying the equipment's getting too easy and all this, and that's not changed.
Well, it's not changed for the average Joe.
Yeah. And what is that?
Or Joette. We can be gender neutral. It's 17 and a half, I think.
Really? That surprises me, that.
Yeah.
You look at all the sports, cycling, which me and you have got crazily into, people's times have come down because obviously.
Well, the elite players have amateur riders got quicker, probably over. I don't know about cycling other than the bits and bobs I do, but I think everybody gets the ball off the tee a bit easier because drivers are easier to hit. The longer, so they are more out of control, so they get them up in the air, but they can't find the ball. And the longer, so they go further if they happen to get 1 in 10.
Yeah.
Hybrids have made a big difference, I think. I think that's the biggest difference. I think lob wedges have made a big difference to some people, for good and bad, of course. And greens have got a little bit quicker, maybe. I don't know, over the years, have they? I don't know. But yeah, it's surprising that, isn't it? That we all actually, it's only the elite players are getting better.
Yeah. Well, especially that Matt Wolf hitting absolute bombs off the tee. Jeez,
yeah.
I couldn't believe
it.
And
that was a great opportunity to see the modern version of Jim Furyk, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pick it upside, outside the line, drop it inside, but did it consistently. So, and Rory just looking picture perfect in every single way.
Emotion, it's a joke.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Final thing of tonight. I was reading earlier, European Tour are trying to schedule a restart at the Forest of Arden, Hanbury Manor, and Celtic Manor. Now, hopefully this happens. Other things that won't be going ahead, which I've been reading today, no Q school for 2020. Now, that's, in my eyes, a sensible but a massive decision, because that means potentially any of the events that are going ahead this year, it's almost like a free go for the guys to go and earn some money.
Yeah. Well, they had to do that in some ways, and it's horrible because I've got a vested interest in Tom, who's the Challenge Tour, whose ranking can't improve between this year, whatever happens, even if they get started to next year. So there's no promotion or relegation effectively.
Yeah.
So the likes of, and I think I've used the example of Jack Senior, who promoted himself from the Challenge Tour to the main tour, made a great start, hasn't been able to carry on that great start, but gets a free hit at it for the rest of the year, and has got all next year as well. So great for him, but not so great for the people that aren't on the main tour. So that's one thing. European Seniors Tour have done the same thing. I know a little bit about this bubble because we've been talking about it on the Seniors Tour as well at the committee level. And they're going to try the best to keep the tour as an absolute bubble and travel around literally in a bubble. So you're going to be tested before you come to the country. You're going to be tested when you get to the hotel. You can't go into the hotel, into the bubble, without being tested and without having a yellow or whatever it is, certification lanyard or whatever they're going to use to say you're okay. Caddies, there's a bit of a debate about, because there's taken 156 caddies into consideration in terms of hotel accommodation and numbers of people on the venue, because they're trying to keep it less than 500. So they've got a massive, massive logistical issue, and they're doing an unbelievable job. Dr. Andrew Murray, funnily enough, Dr. Andrew Murray from the tour and his team, and all the logistical staff of the various tours to try and get some golf played, and for us to see it on TV. There's not going to be few spectators, obviously. So massive, massive challenge.
Are they 4-round tournaments, or are they going to be shorter?
They're going to look at variants, I think. They're looking at all sorts of options with prize money. Prize money won't be as big, obviously. There's going to be no courtesy cars. You're under your own steam. It's going to be a very different animal to be part of, no doubt. No caddies on the Challenge Tour is what I've heard, and no caddies on the Seniors Tour. So push your bag, carry your bag, whatever you do. So yeah, it's going to be a very different landscape.
The only thing that I've got going through my head, imagine you were a player. Obviously, it doesn't. The only thing that guys are playing for this year is money. Obviously, not necessarily rankings and stuff like that.
Well, the rankings are going to be pretty well null and void, but they'll still have they've still got to complete a certain number of events to get the race to Dubai going, because that's part of the contract for the latter part of the year in Dubai. So it's pretty complex issues they've got going, as well as keeping everybody safe, which is obviously the paramount importance.
So say you were leading going into the final round and you felt okay, like you were asymptomatic, but you tested positive.
Yeah.
You can't play, surely, then. Like,
no, you can't, you're out.
Oh, you'd be absolutely gutted, wouldn't you? Absolutely.
I think the idea is that probably it's you and your caddy.
Right.
So if your caddy goes down, you're out as well, because you're obviously in pretty close contact. So those are all. Listen, these are all. Nothing's set in stone yet.
No. We're just speculating here.
Well, we've got speculating with a little bit of inside info, but listen, we were going to talk. Obviously, the tour is a very different animal. It's going to be a different landscape. Hopefully, the Ryder Cup goes ahead. Selfishly, because I want to. Logistics of getting people in and out of America from wherever they're based, of course. Quarantine regulations. They'll all come out in the wash as time goes on. We don't know whether we're going to get locked down again yet, do we?
No.
This week is Mental Health Awareness Week. Did you know that? You probably did know.
You told me beforehand.
Yeah, and I think that's in terms of everybody else's mental health. I mean, golf, getting outside, going cycling, going walking, going angling, doing your chosen sport is great for us while we can do it. And I've got loads of evidence of people, mates of mine, who have been really struggling with work issues. You know, getting out on the golf course has like been a revelation to them. Two pals I play with at Didsbury, and it's just they've left the phones in the car and got away from everything. And they've been really, really affected by the fact they've lost their jobs or they've lost half of their business. Yeah. Golf has been a massive part of, and GPs have already recommended exercise, but exercise and fresh air with your pals on the golf course is one of the better ones, I'd say.
Yeah, relieve stress, can't you?
I do feel sorry for the people that can't play their chosen sport. You know, the cricket club, the rugby club, the football clubs, all those other sports, the gymnastics clubs, all the stuff that isn't able to happen. So in that way, we're lucky to be involved in golf, but you know, fingers crossed that everybody else gets their turn as quick as we can, really, and everyone stays safe. You know, we don't want to spike, do we?
No, definitely not. I know that mental health awareness. I saw something. It may have probably about 6 months ago. A YouTube video. I think it was on an Instagram account. I can't remember the account now, and they created a really great video of the benefits of what golf can do for your mental health. Like you mentioned there, playing with your friends. It's like an escape, isn't it, really? Because when you're playing that shot, you can't think about anything else, well, apart from maybe 20 different swing thoughts, but everything away from golf, you can't think about it.
Yeah. Well, that's the idea, isn't it? I'm sure the anglers, I've never been into angling, but I believe the anglers, you know, find that solace as well, and stuff. By the way, have we got any questions?
We've not got any questions right now. No.
Oh, well, one of the ones that came to me was the one about benefits of mental health, and had I got any examples of, and the two examples of a couple of guys I play with. So there's definitely some very positive personal advantages that I know about. So I'd just like to say that, well, you know, keep talking to people and go and play golf.
Yeah, definitely.
With your mates.
It's been great tonight. Thanks so much.
Has that gone quickly? I don't even know what time it is. No idea.
Yeah, 30 minutes. We're done. We're done. That's it.
Very good. Listen, thanks. And good luck with coaching tomorrow.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Don't forget how to do it.
I've been doing a few online lessons and stuff, and it's what I was thinking about is literally it's going to be like doing an online lesson, because you're going to have to demonstrate it in front of somebody, and you can't put them in a position like you were speculating to before. But I'm looking forward to just actually working in general. Like,
yeah, well, I think, you know what's great? I saw Tom working with Peter Barber yesterday at Didsbury for the first time in ages. And it was great that the two of them were completely in their own world, talking. One was listening to the other, and then Pete, you know, hit a shot, and you could almost feel and hear Pete purring.
Yeah.
The quality of this or the speed of that or whatever it was. So as a coach, you get great feedback from the ball flight and then the expression of the pupil, don't you? And that, coaches miss that. And so don't forget, John Jacobs, simply is best.
I've already know about it. You've told me.
Yeah, I know that, but just remind yourself tomorrow.
Guys, thanks so much for joining us today, and thanks to Andrew. We will be back next week at the same time. Thanks so much.
Yeah.